The controversy has certainly dominated headlines in the fallout from that epic decider. New South Wales becoming just the third Blues side in history to win a decider up at Suncorp. But Gus, all of the talk has been about the banter, not just from the decider, but all series really. Do you think this is the most we've seen back and forth from both camps?
Well, what I said before the start of the series is Michael Maguire would bring a new set of eyeballs to the way New South Wales prepare, but he also has brought a new personality. People who have been coaching New South Wales teams for a number of years have all been players, ex-players. They've been in the Origin system a number of years on their own. Michael Maguire brought a new look to it, a new feel to it, and he obviously wasn't going to be stood over off the field, so he didn't want his players stood over on the field. It was a funny series because the first two games were virtually walkovers. New South Wales got it wrong in game one, had a player sent off, and it was a big scoreline. Queensland got it horribly wrong in game two. That's why game three really stood out, because it looked like an Origin game. It looked like what I think Origin should look like, and that's why people have said it was one of the greatest they've ever seen. It's certainly one of the greatest in recent memory, and it was in stark contrast to what we saw in games 1 and 2. I loved the whole theatre of it. I loved the brutality of it. I loved the passion that the sides played. I loved the closeness to the scores. I loved the low scoring. And I loved the fact that they played at the close quarters. It wasn't played like club football. It was just two teams giving their all, putting their heart and soul into it physically, and finding out who could come up with the points on the day.
Yeah, we talk about the series, and really it was game three that made the whole series. I mean, game 1 and 2, you could have turned it off at half time. You knew what the winner was going to be. Game 1, you could have turned it off after 7 or 8 minutes, and you knew Queensland would probably win convincingly. But game 3, like, what a game it was. It was one of the best games I've ever seen, as Gus said. So physical, so brutal. They played so hard for 80 minutes, and yeah, that was a game for me that really stood out. A couple of players really stood up. Jerome Luai, Mitchell Mosing, big moments of the game, come to the forefront and got the job done for the Blues. And yeah, well done to them. Had a great series, them too.
Emmy, you talked about the way the talk and the noise and all that sort of stuff. Quite simply, we saw a different Michael Maguire, didn't we?
Yeah.
Totally, like in clubland. I'm not being rude, but he used to be quite boring. His word was always a process. He never gave anything. This time, he set the tone. He set the tone for Origin with the glass houses, with the people's team. He took Billy Slater down a pretty dark alley and mugged him in terms of media terms. He really showed him how to do the media. And I don't know where it came from with Madge. I think that he was very inspired by the way that he felt Joseph Suaalii was targeted by Queensland after what happened, and he went on the attack from then. And I think he dominated off the field and clearly on the field.
Do you think Billy made a mistake by shutting off so much? I mean, at the end of the day, I understand exactly what Billy's saying.
Yeah.
He shut away all the noise because he wants to be the best coach he can be for Queensland, which I think is a good thing. But the other part about Origin, it's such a big beast. We've got to appeal to the fans, and Madge did. Madge appealed to the fans by having a go at Queensland and having a go at Billy. And Billy, for the first time in my life, I've seen him rattle. Billy is the most well-prepared person I've seen in my entire life at everything. In rugby league, at this job, he's got notes on everything.
He's brilliant.
But off the cuff in this series, he struggled.
Well, I'm sitting with like one of the loudest mouths in Origin ever, you, Gal. you were fantastic at causing trouble and stirring things up. And the best mind person I've ever seen in any level of coaching is Gus. And he would understand much better. I can't answer that question. Gus could answer the question about mind games and how to handle the media better than anybody I know. Like, Gus, do you think Billy did it right?
Look, let's go back to Michael Maguire, because he put a lot of preparation into this series. And game 1 didn't go according to plan. He wasn't as boisterous before game 1. What he was saying is, we're going to do it our way, we're going to go up to Katoomba, we're going to prepare on our own. It wasn't as though he started the media then. It was just that he was sort of keeping things pretty close to his chest to that. When game 1 went so badly, it could have gone either way for Michael Maguire. He could have panicked. He had to make team changes. He did. They didn't have the right team for game 1. But he kind of went on the offensive from the gutter, like they were down and people were saying, well, they're written off. And he went on the offensive. And I just don't know that Queensland were able to handle that right. I don't think Billy likes that confrontation in the media. I think he just wanted to get on with the series and play the way they did. I don't think Billy saw game 2 coming. I think that shocked him. And I think that's why, leading into game 3, I described it pre-match, when they made those changes pre-kickoff, where they changed their whole front row and put people back on the bench and all that. I said, this might be genius or it might be a disaster. Either way, it was still panic that caused it. I think they were really searching for answers out of game 2 because it was so dominant by New South Wales. Now, what happened is, above all that, whether you think he's handled the media right or not, he did get Queensland, I think, to play really above themselves in Game 3. Their defence was outstanding. You cannot compare their attitude, their defensive grit and the brutality that they showed in Game 3 compared to the meek stuff we saw at the start of Game 2. So he certainly got them up for it. He got them up for the battle. It was just that New South Wales were ready for it. Now, Queensland did enough in that game. Origin 3 at Brisbane, they did enough in that game to make New South Wales wilt if New South Wales wanted to. All right? They did enough in that game where I've seen New South Wales teams in the past probably get themselves beaten because things weren't going their way.
That last 20 minutes, right?
What they ran into was a New South Wales team that had been built on siege mentality, had been built on toughness and not backing down and standing up for each other, and were prepared to get whatever came their way. You know, the fact that that game was refereed the way it was, the way the game was played the way it was, it didn't shock New South Wales. They knew what they were in for, and they battled all the way. It took two brilliant individual efforts from their halves, one from Luai and one from Mitchell Moses to break open the scoreline, and that's how Origins should be played.
I think Queensland really missed a few big men. Obviously, Tino was out, Flegler was out, Gilbert was out, and I thought they should have picked Fafita. But watching Fafita's performance yesterday for the Titans, I understand why Billy didn't pick him. When the game's going good, Dave Fafita's in the match. He's running hard, he's doing things. But when it starts to get a little bit hard, that's when he sort of backs back a bit. So, you know, I will stick up. I don't often stick up for Queenslanders, but I can understand Billy Slater, his decision not to pick Dave Fafita when I thought they were missing a big man.
Wadler, just before we wrap up, can I just ask you, one of the, I guess, areas of controversy was your story about Selwyn Cobbo having that potential rift with Billy Slater. I know you stand by your report, but how has the fallout been for you, essentially, in some moments, being attacked?
Oh, more than some moments, yeah, but that's okay. That comes with our job. And, like, I will have a go at people as well, so in the media, and I have to wear it. So I'm happy for people to have a shot as long as it's legitimate, and I'll have a shot back. But, you know, that's just part of rugby league. You get a story. It's a story I could never win on because I'm not going to get Selwyn Cobbo or Billy Slater to tell me exactly what was going on. I'm only trusting my source, and I stand by it. Simple as that.